I recently went to Cairo, Egypt, and the main focus of this trip was to go see the pyramids. That's something that I always wanted to do, and I did. In this video, I'll show you guys a little bit of the pyramids. I went inside some of the pyramids and I kind of got like a big surprise. And I'll tell you about that when it comes to the different pyramids I went and looked at. And also, I was told and prepared for some different things when going to the pyramids. I took some precautions and some things didn't turn out the way I thought they would. There were some good surprises, there were some bad surprises, and I'll tell you a little bit about the scam that they tried to do to me. And it's just something that I wasn't expecting, but something that I've seen before at other places, and I recognized what it was immediately when they were trying to pursue this little, I would call it a scam, but that's just their way of doing business there. And I understand, you know, these tour guides, they want to make some extra money if they get a chance. So let's get into it. So it was definitely my plan to go to the pyramids. I got into my hotel. I set up like a plan with the people at the hotel to get me a private guided tour. It was only $75 US. And what this included was then for me to have a driver drive me to the pyramids, hook up in that area with like a tour guide that's going to be a one-on-one tour guide, take me around and show me the pyramids. Now, I decide I don't particularly like to go with a tour guide because I just want to do my own thing. But in this particular case, I had seen tons of videos where people harass people and they just, you know, they just deal with a lot of BS there. If you've seen any videos of the pyramids, you know what I'm talking about. People trying to, you know, just gouge you for any way they can. And I figured it would be better for me to just hire somebody, pay a little bit of money, maybe learn a little bit, and maybe alleviate some issues that I may have there, and not have to deal with anybody's bullshit because I'm with a tour guide, you know, somebody that I hired, that the hotel set up, and I figured it would be all cool that way, which it sort of was. I mean, it was good and bad, and I'm going to tell you about that. So the driver picks me up at the correct time. We drive out to the pyramid. We pick up the tour guide who lives in that area out there near Giza. So it's not really that close to Cairo. I don't remember how far, 30-minute drive or something. I don't know. But we pick him up and we go to the pyramids. And so I can tell you a pleasant surprise and something that's brand new is they got the new gate there. It's called the Great Gate. It's a brand new entrance gate. And I guess in the past, everything was kind of confusing there and whatever. But I mean, you go to this new gate and it's, you know, you pay your fee. It's organized. It's organized. They also have bus service there. So you just, you know, I read in the past that you go and people say, oh, you got to take a camel and they want to give you a tour and different people try to direct you in different directions. Now you just go from bus to bus. It takes you to each different place inside the complex. So it makes it much, much easier. I will say a positive to me getting this tour guide is he knew, you know, which bus to get onto, and he kind of made it far less stressful than it could have been if I was just on my own. The negative is, you know, I kind of felt a little bit rushed, like he kind of wanted to keep, you know, moving along. And, you know, I mean, how often do you get to go to the pyramids? I want to take my time and, you know, everything like that. Finally made it to the pyramids after 58 years of waiting. First stop is a panoramic view. So I'm going to stand here and take a look. Apparently it's a better view if you take a camel ride. I'm not taking a camel ride. Everybody wants. I see so many people do the same picture. Okay.
You don't want to make it?
I don't know. Okay. Yeah. When you come here, you buy a main entrance ticket, and then everything else you want to do, like if you want to go inside or go to a few other places around here, it's extra tickets. People had said that they thought it's such a small area. I mean, it seems pretty big to me. Like a nice chunk of desert left here. So it was fine. The guy was okay. I mean, he wasn't that bad. Was he that knowledgeable? Was he giving me that much information? Not really. But it was kind of worth it just to, get around the place in an orderly fashion and really, just kind of walk around. Nobody really bothered me. But I really didn't see that many people being harassed now. I think it's changed because of these buses going all over the place. I think there's less places for people to kind of, corner you or try to get you to use them as a tour guide or anything like that, because you're on a bus, you're off a bus, you're on a bus. And that really helped, I think. So we're going around the pyramids, and he's telling me a little bit about this, a little bit about that, and it was cool. It was fine. I had somebody to walk around with and talk to.
So this area I'm standing on, this is the only original part that's still smooth like this. This entire pyramid at one time was smooth like this. And all that material was pillaged for other projects. What a friggin' waste. And not to mention, the guy told me on top of this, the point, the little pyramid on top was pure gold. That was stolen too, as far as they can tell from their research. I would have thought it'd be much more crowded here, but not too bad. Not too crowded at all. No wait to go inside the pyramids.
But, like I said, it wasn't like a wealth of information. I think mostly, they get their shtick. They get their little, I don't know, not a degree, but they get like a little certificate to be a tour guide, like an official tour guide. And they teach them, I don't know how long the school is. They had to go for that. But you learn, you learn a little bit. And it was fine. So I noticed, like, while we're walking around, all of a sudden he starts telling me some weird stuff like about the perfume, these oil perfumes, and this paper, Papyrus, which is like supposed to be the original paper, the first ever paper, and it was invented by the Egyptians. He's telling me about that, and I'm thinking in my head, like, I wasn't really paying that much attention. Like, why is he telling me, like, just out of nowhere? Like, it didn't really make any sense. Maybe he saw a piece of paper. He's telling me all about this, like taking time to tell me about this BS. So we check out the Sphinx, everything, and he really, like everything I went into, he just stayed outside. And I noticed when you go inside, they got their own little guys that work in there or whatever they do, and they try to get you want me to take a picture, or they want to tell you about something. I didn't want any part of any of that, because I know, and like I saw with some other people, they hit them up for money after or whatever, can you give me a tip, everything, tip.
These people are getting shook down over there.
So I didn't want to deal with any of those people. I just told them all, leave me alone, or I just pretended like I didn't speak English. I just ignored them.
Ticket? Where from? Where from?
Thailand.
Italiano?
Thailand.
Thailander?
Thailand. I live in Thailand.
In Thailand?
Yeah. No. I'm okay. Thank you. They want to talk to you. Everybody wants to know where you're from. None of your fucking business.
And went about my business, which was all cool. No issues. The guy, he's like, tour guide, you want to go on camel ride? I'm like, no, I don't do none of that. I'm just here to look at the pyramids, and that's it. I kind of told him I hired him just so that other people didn't harass me. I didn't want to be bothered with anything. I just want to look at the stuff, and that's it. So as part of this tour, we're going to the Sakara Pyramids too. And I'll tell you about that. Like, I didn't know anything about the Sakara pyramids, but there's the step pyramid of Zoser. It's like Zoser or Zoseph, almost like Joseph, and it's supposed to be like the oldest pyramid, the first one. And I wouldn't know anything about that. So the good thing about me setting up with this tour is, later on after the Sphinx and the Great Pyramid and the pyramids of Giza, we're going to go to this other pyramid. And I didn't know, but it was awesome. That was actually better. And I'll tell you about that and show you some video as we move forward into the video. After we get done with, the pyramids, they take me to this, he goes, now we're going to go to this museum of something. I'm like, I don't remember seeing, like the pamphlet, the thing I signed up for. I said, what are you talking about? I don't remember seeing any other museum in the thing. He goes, oh, no, don't you remember? I told you about the Papyrus and the perfume. Like, there's a museum, they have a museum. And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck this guy's talking about, but they take me there. I mean, it's like, it's right here. We'll just stop here and look. And like, it's so adamant about going to I'm like, what, why, like, why, what, for what? I don't want to see that. And he says, oh, just, come on. So the guy parks and me and the tour guide go in, and he says, I walk in and immediately I look around and I see, these old ladies, they're making like this artwork on this paper, and I see on the wall all these pictures with prices on them or something. And he says, this is so-and-so, he'll give you the tour of this museum. And I said, no. I said, let's go. I said, I don't want any tour of the museum. I knew immediately. I had been on a tour. It was my first time ever to Thailand, 2010. And I signed up with a guy. And on the tour, which you don't expect, you don't know about, they take you to a diamond museum or a jewel, precious stone museum or something. And it's another one of these little tourist trap things where they try to get you to buy jewelry and stones, and that's in Bangkok. So I'm like, this is that exact damn thing. I'm like, I say to the guy, he goes, well, what do you know? Don't you want to? I go, no, I don't want a tour from this guy. I said, I don't want to. I said, I only signed up to see the pyramids. I don't care about any of this. This doesn't mean anything to me. I said, this is stupid. Let's go. He said, well, like he acted like he was butthurt about it or something. Like, don't you the perfume, the oils? Don't you want to see? I go, dude. What the fuck am I going to do with some perfume? I said, I don't give a shit. Let's go. I'm not here for this. Let's go. Okay. I said, I didn't bring any other money. I had money. I was going to give him a tip, whatever. He was fine. This is how they make a little bit of extra money, but it's kind of a scam. And I'm going to tell you more about it in a second because, afterwards I did some research. I'll tell you this girl's story, what happened to her at one of these places. I said, dude, I didn't bring any other money. I said, I don't buy anything. I just come to look at shit, and that's it. That's what I do here. I don't give a shit about none of this. I said, I don't buy gifts. I don't buy souvenirs. I said, I don't want none of this stuff. Like, he was defeated because, I buy something, he gets a kickback. When I was inside the place, I seen all these other tour guides and people bringing their tour people into this place. So it's just it's a tourist trip to try to get you to buy either some oils, some perfumes, or some of this paper with shit written on it. I don't know, but I don't want none of that stuff. But let me tell you, so, afterwards I looked and yeah, there's, obviously it's a known, bullshit thing that they try to get you to do. It lines their pockets. They get a kickback. But so a girl named Nicole, she left a review on, I think it was TripAdvisor. But anyways, I printed it out just so I can tell you like her story because she actually fell for it. And I'll just read you what she wrote. Let me see. What is this? I think this was a review of some tour company TripAdvisor. I think she was pissed because the tour guide, like me, took her to the place, but she actually got really backed into a corner. So the pyramid, I'll read. So this is from Nicole Ashley something from Cape Town, South Africa. The pyramids and museums were fantastic, but two stops that were not communicated to us before was a perfume museum and another place to show us how ancient Egyptian paper was made. Exact same thing, I noticed other ones, when we were driving around after I saw the one that he tried to, get me to look around in. We left the pyramids and we were told that it was early and we had extra time. They offered to take us for free to the above mentioned. Both are scams, and I presume they get kickbacks from bringing tourists to this location. The Perfume Museum is not a museum. There's a man there that shows you how to make a glass bottle for 5 minutes, followed by a history on the perfume and how their perfume was made and where you get to try some oils and perfumes. Once you're done, you are asked if you want to buy some. The quality of the ones you tested were amazing. I wanted 2 bottles of 75 milliliters each, but was told that there's a special travel offer where you select 4 100 milliliter oils and they are wrapped for travel, all for the reasonable price of 200 euros. fuck? I felt exceptionally pressured to buy and actually felt uncomfortable. I decided just to buy it and leave. My card didn't seem to work, and the tour guide offered to take me somewhere to get money and come back, which already made me very suspicious. My partner ended up paying. We were then taken to a paper museum. Like, you'd think, like, after she was pressuring her, like, enough would be enough. Like, I don't want to go anywhere else with you. But she says, we were then taken to a paper museum where they show you how ancient Egyptian paper was made. Again, this was a 5-minute demonstration and 30 minutes of trying to be sold something. So that's like the place, the first place. I think they were both in the same place where they took me, but like I said, I didn't last more than 30 seconds in the place. I was like, fuck that. We're getting out of here. I knew what they were trying to do. Again, it was a 5-minute demonstration. We were made so uncomfortable, as we stated on multiple times, that we did not want to buy something, but they kept pushing and pushing to the point where I joked to my partner, let's just buy something small, otherwise we won't ever leave. He decided to get a small picture for 75 euros, just so we could leave. I was left feeling extremely uncomfortable and upset. Wanting to make the best of our day, I decided to focus on the next stop, which was the bazaar. Anyways, you know, she goes on to say the bazaar, she was rushed and the tour guide didn't want to be there and was rushing her, which, you know, I understand that. My guy kind of, you know, at the pyramids, he was, you know, I think he just was in a rush to try to get me to this, the paper museum, that, you know, where you can make some money, make some real money on me. Anyway, she said when they got to the hotel, they immediately Googled the 2 stops and learned that these were scams. The perfumes were probably worse. The quality, probably worse than the quality you were shown at the facility. Anyways, they ended up opening the perfumes and found that it was like cheap garbage, not the same stuff that they were shown at the place. She contacted the guide, who put her back in contact with the people at the perfume shop. And she ended up going round and round with her. And apparently they ended up giving her back her money. But apparently she went nuts on them. It sounds like the way that they wrap these things, they assume, and this was from some other things I read, that you're not going to open these things till you get back wherever you're going. You know, they wrap them for travel, and then, you know, whatever, you get back to the United States, get back to Europe, you open it, and you find out like, oh, they fucking scammed me, this is garbage. But, you know, are you ever going to go back to friggin' Egypt again? No. So you're SOL. So that's how that scam works. Anyways, like I said, the guy, he acted like all like, because I was kind of a dick. I'm like, dude, what the fuck am I going to do with perfume? I go, do I look like I need any fucking perfume? I said, let's get the fuck out of here. This is stupid. You know, I was really mean about it. And I told him I only hired him to, you know, because I didn't want to be bothered with stuff. It's funny, at the beginning of the tour, he told me, you know, make sure these people, you know, nothing's for free. You know, if they want to take your picture. He's telling me all about the scams. I'm like, yeah, this is, you know, I know about that stuff. And then he tries to pull it. But I understand, you know, they do get their extra money. And if you got a quality product and you got a little kickback, no big deal. But, you know, that shit's just not for me. I don't trust any of it. But we ended up going to the Sakara pyramids, which was part of this tour. You know, they had it in the pamphlet, the hotel that I signed up for. So it's not like he did me any favors. This is what I paid for. And I got to tell you that that those pyramids were pretty cool. And I went into this one mound, you know, next to the pyramid of Zosa, the tiered pyramid, which was okay, was this mound. And it looked like a hill, just a hill, but then there's an entrance and you go down inside and there's hieroglyphics and it's cool. It was like the coolest inside of the pyramid, and all it was a pile of rubble. But, you know, that one you get to see the most. I'm sure in like the Great Pyramid, you know, 90% of stuff's blocked off. They don't let you see it. But I went into this other building there that had just amazing, you know, carvings and ancient, you know, sculpture and carvings in the wall. And so that place was super, super cool. So I would say all in all, as long as you know not to fall for the little, thing where they get the kickback with the perfume and the paper, it was worth $75. So this is underneath the Zosif. Sounds like Joseph. And this is the best one yet in the inside. I mean, look at this. And this is the first pyramid. The first pyramid built, allegedly. Wow. Holy cow. Oh my God. Wow. Oh, that's pretty friggin' amazing. Holy cow. Hello. And I'm all alone in here. This is nuts. I mean, they drove me there, drove me back, and we went to this buffet, and it was all you could eat, and they bring you grilled meats, and check this out. All right. They took me for a lunch after this tour, a buffet. I had some like grilled meats. Let's see here. Good. So that was really tasty. I enjoyed that. That was a good meal. I think he was a little butthurt because at the end he's like, "Oh, do you still want to go eat or you want to go back?" And I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I want to go eat. I paid for that. It's part of the tour." And when we got back, he wasn't a bad guy, and the driver was a good guy. I gave him both tips, but it's all part of their shtick. Like I said, just like the tour in Thailand. I'm not mad at the guy. That's what they do, but just be aware of that. I wasn't aware of that part of it. But it's a common thing, in different countries. You take these tours and they try to get you to buy something and they always get a kickback. So, all right, guys, if you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Greeny out.